really appreciate about Tank is he's a dog. That kind of what he just said. You can put the earmuffs up and go at it. He kind of will assess you as well, and whatever he needs to do, he'll do it.
Jake Paul has responded to the viral sparring footage of Gervonta "Tank" Davis that's taken social media by storm. The clip shows Davis looking faster, sharper, and more explosive than ever as he trains for his next fight. Fans are now questioning whether Tank is entering the absolute peak of his career. Gervonta Davis has built his legacy in the lighter divisions, typically fighting between 133 and 135 pounds, and never officially competing above 140 in his professional career. In stark contrast, Jake Paul is a natural cruiserweight, regularly competing around 200 pounds, a massive jump from Tank's usual weight. This isn't a small gap, it's several weight classes apart. Such a difference introduces major challenges beyond just skill. The heavier fighter usually holds key advantages in strength, durability, and the ability to absorb punishment. In matchups like this, it's not only about technique, it's about who can take the hits and keep performing effectively.
Something else that's unfortunate is the idea that Jake Paul might actually fight Gervonta "Tank" Davis. This can't be real. When it came up a couple of months ago, I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to cover this because there's no way they're really going to do it, because it makes no sense. Why would you do that for him? Outside of it, like, okay, you can look at it like an exhibition, which it will be, and we'll take a look at some of the rule set for it. But Gervonta Davis is one of, if not the best, biggest name at 135 pounds, and is an active, in his prime fighter. I don't want to hear this similar to Floyd and Logan thing, because at that point, Floyd was retired. Floyd had done all he needed to do in the sport. Tank is still in his prime, still has multiple high-level opponents that he needs to fight. And you can say, oh, you know, the Jake would be a one-off, side quest. That's fine, but that just tells me that Tank doesn't care about being a high-level champion in the sport.
Carmel Martin recently reflected on a memorable sparring session with Gervonta Davis when Davis was just 15 or 16 years old. He admitted feeling nervous at first, but the session quickly evolved into a tactical chess match focused on timing, speed, and counters rather than pure power. Martin noted that Davis never tried to overwhelm him or go for a knockout. Instead, they exchanged angles and rhythm in a highly technical battle. While Davis's strength was evident, Martin said their skill and quickness were evenly matched. He described the experience as fun, competitive, and a major learning milestone in his growth as a fighter.
Like when you fought him, I know you fought Tank early on. Yeah. What was that experience like? Like replay that experience for me. Like you coming out of it, what was your thought?
Yeah, I was nervous at first. I think I was 15 at the time we sparred, so he wasn't really like trying to knock me out or nothing like that. But we was going like, he was using the speed on me. Like we was both like going speed for speed, and it was great. It was like a chess match.
Did you understand in that moment like why he is who he is?
Yeah. I seen why he was able to beat these guys. Then I also see why I'm so like. Yeah. I got all this hype around me too.
Sean Porter came to Gervonta Davis's defense regarding his decision to take on an exhibition bout with Jake Paul, insisting that critics are overlooking the bigger picture. According to Porter, the fight isn't about proving legacy or dominance, but about ensuring long-term financial security for Davis and his family. Since it's an exhibition, strict safety rules and limited risks make the event more about entertainment than competition. Porter pointed out that boxers have short careers and must seize opportunities that offer both exposure and financial reward. In his view, Tank isn't selling out, he's being smart. Porter's remarks underline the delicate balance between boxing purists chasing legacy and fighters prioritizing stability beyond their years in the ring.
They're trying to make it safer and all those sorts of things, but there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore, but it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis.
Is it more the heart? How do you guys feel being boxers?
Man, like once you hear the numbers, I'm like, they're talking, like I don't know the official, they're talking about 100 mil.
Oh, damn.
they're talking about these insane numbers. Like I'm gonna be like, don't take that. I'm not gonna tell another man not to take that type of check, especially for something like that. It's not on your official record. It's an exhibition. I'm not gonna lie here and act like I'm not gonna say yes to 100 million or something like that. But I do see exactly what you're saying about the essence of boxing. I wish they would kind of separate it a little more, because exhibitions have always been a thing. This has always been an argument.
Right.
But they're just selling it like a real fight almost.
Right.
So I think that maybe if we could create a better like distinction, more of a difference,
Right.
there might be less hate on it. But at the end of the day, man, I'm not gonna tell Tank not to take that fight.
And I said this last year. I said create a influencer title and let those guys fight over there in the influencer world. They can live the world in the life of I'm a world champion without having to do something like this. Now, the issue for this that I have is you have a legitimate 135-pound champion fighter get in the ring with that 190-pound guy, whatever it is that Jake Paul is at. So now we already let's really answer this thing.
In contrast, many argue that despite all the buzz, the massive weight difference turns this matchup into more of a spectacle than a genuine, competitive fight. Even promoters appear to recognize the imbalance, enforcing special safety measures such as a 195-pound catch weight, larger gloves, and exhibition status to reduce risk. For critics, the issue isn't just weight, it's experience. Gervonta Davis has faced elite world champions, while Jake Paul's record comes from limited opposition. They envision Davis using his superior speed, precision, and timing to land clean shots and make Jake look awkward and outclassed, even against a significant size disadvantage.
Comment about it. My question is, what's the rules? And like, are they gonna actually try and knock each other out? Because it's gonna be a glorified sparring match. I'm not watching. I don't give a fuck.
Jake's gonna have a hard time hitting him.
Yeah,
You know,
big time. Javonte's so fast
and
and skilled.
Javonte's gonna eat his.
I thought
guts.
Jake was gonna fight Anthony Joshua. That seemed.
No, that was
more-
actually getting.
That
that
is
sounded
the
more
craziest idea I've ever heard. Jake Paul trying to fight Anthony Joshua. Great fighter.
Chael Sonnen recently criticized Jake Paul's decision to pivot from pursuing a fight with Anthony Joshua to facing Gervonta "Tank" Davis, calling it a major letdown compared to what fans were expecting. Sonnen argued that, unlike Paul, Davis isn't naturally skilled at generating hype or selling fights. He prefers to let his fists speak inside the ring. While Sonnen acknowledged Davis's elite talent and proven credibility, he believes Tank lacks the showmanship and promotional flair that Paul has mastered. As a result, Sonnen suggested that the success of this matchup relies far more on Jake Paul's marketing power and media influence than on the actual competitiveness or intrigue of the fight itself.
It is the exact opposite of Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul for two. So the fight that was being dangled and rumored in front of us, the exact opposite is happening. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is not fighting nobody. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is fighting Tank Davis. Okay. So there's one big glaring issue for me. It's just your partner being Tank Davis. Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. It could be a title fight, a contenders fight, a main event fight. He could be the favorite. He could be the underdog. Tank doesn't know how to bring that information to you guys in a way that is compelling. And Tank is already blinking in this situation. You have one guy who is argued amongst the pound for pound current greats in boxing. You have another guy that has suggested he should not even be allowed to box, that he should have to call it something different. He should not be licensed. He should not be ranked in the top 14. He should never be selected for a world title. Okay. Now, Tank has one job to do, which is to let anybody know that's listening that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport.
Over time, Gervonta Davis's perception of Jake Paul has noticeably changed. Initially, Davis saw Paul as nothing more than a loud, attention-hungry entertainer, openly mocking his claims and dismissing him as a joke in the boxing scene. But as Paul's dedication, discipline, and skill development became evident, Davis's attitude softened. He since recognized Paul's strong work ethic, mental toughness, and genuine commitment to the sport. Although Davis still doesn't view Paul as elite boxing talent, he's now more receptive to the idea of facing him, largely due to Paul's growing influence, fan base, and massive promotional reach.
He's a clown. I know that Jake can't fight. He can't fight. So
would you look at it as a joke if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like,
yeah, I laugh at him. You want me to fight him?
At first, I didn't like how Jake Paul was coming because of how he was making it look. But now that I see that, I feel as though he's still a clown because that's his personality. I'm starting to respect it because he's not doing it like for the hype. He's really like trying to be a boxer. I think that he's decent.
Yeah.
Like he's good. I mean, he's not good, but he's going that way.
Is he better than you thought he'd be?
Yeah.
Gotta be mentally tough to be in a box. So that's why I don't take that away from some fighters or some people that want to jump into the sport. So just show how tough you are. That's how it
Following Jake Paul's dominant victory over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., his reputation within the boxing world has risen dramatically. The Anaheim event broke the arena's all-time gate revenue record, surpassing shows led by elite champions and proving Paul's immense commercial draw. Respected figures like Oscar de la Hoya now view him as a legitimate contender with potential to challenge for world titles. Even Manny Pacquiao admitted that, despite ongoing skepticism, Paul's dedication and progress can't be denied. The performance also earned praise from analysts who highlighted his improved ring control, composure under pressure, and growing technical maturity as a boxer.
Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So Jake Paul, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., it's a real fight. Look, people keep talking about Jake Paul, well, he's not a real fighter, this and that. Well, he's fighting a real fighter now in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. It's going to be a good test for both guys. Obviously, Jake Paul, he's a masterclass promoter in what he does. He's been doing some great things. I mean, Mike Tyson, 60 million people, fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who, when he trains, when he gets in shape, when he's focused, he will be dangerous for anybody. Look, Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So there's a lot of stories to come out from this, a lot of great stories for Jake Paul. So I just feel honored and proud that we can team up with MVP Promotions, with Jake Paul, and we can make Zurdo Ramirez with Torticos the mandatory. That's going to be bloodbath in itself, so we're excited.
Jake Paul has officially declared that his second chapter in boxing is just getting started. And this time, he's setting his sights on real, professional boxers. After defeating Andre August, Paul announced that he's stepping away from crossover and MMA opponents to focus entirely on the traditional boxing path, targeting legitimate contenders across multiple divisions. In a CNN interview, he emphasized his commitment to facing the toughest opponents, especially those where he's considered the underdog, to truly earn respect inside the ring. That determination echoes throughout his social media and interviews, as Paul insists he's no longer chasing spectacle. He's pursuing legacy, credibility, and a lasting place among boxing's serious competitors.
Everybody's been calling you out, Daniel Dubois, Ryan Garcia, all these people. Who's the most enticing to you?
No, like, I want to fight them all, to be honest. I just need the time. So I probably will literally fight all of them. So they're all enticing to me.
However, the massive weight gap between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis proved too great to ignore, leading Georgia's athletic commission to reject approval for the fight. As a result, Paul's team withdrew their permit application and decided to relocate the event to Miami. The shift underscores just how complex organizing major exhibition bouts can be, as regulators prioritize safety, fairness, and risk over financial appeal. For Davis, George's refusal reflects the lingering doubts surrounding such an uneven matchup. For Paul, however, the move to Miami aligns perfectly with his showman approach, generating buzz, controversy, and attention. The relocation not only alters fan perception and event logistics, but also highlights how fragile and political boxing's business side truly is.
No way in hell this fight was ever going to happen. And the fact that y'all believed it, I don't know, you're stupid. So Rick Thompson, chairman of the Georgia Athletic Commission, told USA Today Sports that Paul's promotion company withdrew its request for permits and a rule waiver, citing the 65-pound weight difference between the fighters. The Rick Thompson guy straight up said they've been promoting something they should not have been. Come on, guys, use your brains. Y'all boxing fans, you understand this. This fight was never going to happen. This is the article from USA Today. It says the status of the proposed fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis under scrutiny because of the weight discrepancy between the two fighters. Rick Thompson is coming out and saying this stuff because he said he believes it's in the public's best interest to know that they've been promoting something they should not have been. Communications director for the Office of the Secretary of State told USA Today Sports the event will not be happening. But funny enough, tickets are still available. You can still purchase them online, and the fight is still listed on the State Farm Arena event.
Critics argue that Jake Paul's boxing rise is fueled not only by promotion, but by a subtle disrespect toward past legends. By luring retired fighters back into the ring with massive paydays, they say he diminishes the sport's integrity. Even icons like Mike Tyson have been drawn out of retirement, thrilling fans yet sparking genuine concern about safety and the line between sport and
That's pushing 60 years old, for crying out loud, but at the same time pretending to be like this badass motherfucker, sending me DMs talking. He offered me a contract a long time ago, and I was like, what are you doing? I'm a retired fighter and I've got one eye. Why would I want to fight you? I wouldn't lower myself to doing that. I know a lot of people do that. They do lower themselves, if you want to say that, because of the payday. Because Jake Paul is a big name. He is a social media sensation. He's a YouTube star. And now, of course, in the world of boxing, he's one of boxing's biggest stars because he puts on these spectacles like Paul versus Tyson, like Nate Diaz, because these are the fighters, these are the names that attract the eyes. Jake Paul is the B-side to almost every single one of his fights. When he fought Nate Diaz, people were tuning in for Nate Diaz. His last fight against Cesar Chavez Jr., apparently no one watched that fight. Apparently the pay-per-views were ridiculously low. So this one's going back to Netflix on November 14th, and it's an exhibition bout. Of course it's an exhibition bout because no athletic commission in their right mind will sanction this fight. There's just no way you can make this a legitimate fight because of the size advantage. Typically, this would be very, very dangerous, and someone could get really hurt. If Jake Paul was to swing as hard as he could and connect and wobble him and hit him many, many times and not knock him out, with the bigger gloves and the concussion possibilities and the brain rattling around inside the head, and Jake Paul just teeing off at him as hard as he could, it's dangerous. That's why fights like this can't get sanctioned. That's why this is a exhibition bout and not a real matchup. Now listen, they're both going to get paid tremendously. They're going to make a ton of money, and a lot of people are going to tune in and watch it on Netflix. Fair play.
Ultimately, the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis spectacle highlights how increasingly blurred the line between sport and entertainment has become. What some critics dismiss as a mismatch, others see as a calculated business move, one offering both fighters massive exposure, huge paydays, and new opportunities. The weight disparity, venue changes, promotional tactics, and questions of legitimacy continue to fuel debate. Yet, for fans and insiders alike, the true intrigue lies in how these two vastly different athletes handle the immense pressure and public scrutiny on fight night. Whether history remembers it as a media circus or a pivotal crossover moment, its impact on modern boxing will undoubtedly endure.
Visually, seeing that go viral, and I mean go viral, and Jake Paul will never hear the end of it. Because Gervonta Tank Davis is not only a real boxer, he's a real boy. He's 5'5", he's a lightweight. Skills pay the bills. Let him knock out Jake Paul, give him Bambi legs, or knock him down. Gervonta Tank Davis, that moment will go viral, and he will be a far bigger, well-known boxer than he is today, and he will also be a hero. And that's the Black Dude Show. That you guys don't want to admit it. Don't bull jive. Think about it.
What do you think? Is this fight a legitimate challenge or just too one-sided to take seriously? Share your thoughts in the comments.